Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me again. If you are new here, thank you for joining me for the first time. Today's video is going to be all about overtraining. So this video was actually requested by one of my Instagram followers, and I'm so glad that someone brought it up because actually it's a super important topic to discuss, and I don't really think that it's talked about enough within the fitness industry at all. So of course, the subject of overtraining is kind of simple in terms of it is overtraining your body. But it can be broken down, sort of, if you want to simplify it, it can be broken down into 3 different stages, and all of the 3 stages get more and more intense as you go along, and it gets worse and worse for your body. The first stage of overtraining can actually be quite difficult to diagnose because it's not really anything drastic. It can be like a little bit of knee or ankle pain in a runner, or maybe some shoulder pain or some chest pain in a lifter or something like that. It's not something that's going to be really obvious to you at the very beginning. And it can be a little bit frustrating because even like you might even go for blood tests because you feel like you're getting injured really sort of regularly, or your performance just keeps declining and declining, and it can be a little bit frustrating because if you go and get blood tests or something, it won't show up in blood tests. It's just kind of these little niggles that keep popping up, and they can be really frustrating and you just don't know why they're happening. But here are some things to watch out for if you think you might be in this phase. Like I just said before, it can be things like vulnerability to back, knee, foot, ankle pain, these sorts of things. You may find you have some abnormal changes in your hormones, so if you're a woman, that means something like some changes in your menstrual cycle that seem a little bit off. You may experience a decreased libido, so a lack of sexual desire, and who wants that? Or it can affect your mental health, so you might see that you're becoming more anxious or even stressed, or even you may feel like you're kind of displaying some symptoms and signs of depression. So like I said, it can be kind of difficult in this stage because all those things that I just explained may not be to do with overtraining. You may be able to see in your life that something is suggesting that, I don't know, you might be stressed at work, or you may be not eating very well, so your hormones maybe, you think that's what's affecting your hormones, but it can definitely and realistically, you might want to look at the suggestion that it might be that you're overtraining your body. So the important thing to do here is to make sure that you're really focused on those other areas of your life. So really keep a check on your diet, try and eat really healthy foods, just make sure you're getting enough from your diet, make sure you're getting enough sleep, because obviously sleep is a majorly important factor in recovery and just in general well-being. And if all those factors, you feel like you're doing really well on all those factors, so you're getting enough sleep, you're eating really well, your lifestyle is just generally balanced, and you're trying not to be stressed, if you're still seeing these symptoms pop up, you're getting little niggles here and there, injuries, or you're just not at the right performance level that you think you should be, then it might be time to start looking at maybe decreasing the intensity of your sessions, or realistically just decreasing the volume of your sessions as a whole. That's not to say forever though, just in the short term, just see if that kind of makes things better for you, and if it does, then obviously that suggests that previously you may have been overtraining. So the second stage may not be applicable to a lot of you because usually it's seen more likely in kind of high level athletes who are performing high levels of strength or anaerobic work, and also they probably have high levels of just lifestyle stress in general. But what's kind of weird about this stage is generally it completely shows itself in another form. So really you kind of get almost increased energy, and you may feel sort of restless and just like you're constantly go. And sometimes, yeah, sometimes overtraining, it doesn't necessarily show itself as like a decrease in all these kind of things like energy levels and sexual desire and all this stuff. Actually, it can go completely the other way, and you can feel just completely restless and like you've got too much energy, and it just basically is because you've pushed your cortisol levels up so high. And you may think, well, that's great, I can just go and train all the time. But the fact is that if you've pushed your cortisol levels up so high, that will also affect your insulin. And basically, I mean, long story short, it means you'll probably see that as much as you're training and you're going full pelt and you feel like you're just on top of your game, it will probably show in kind of your body composition. So you might store fat a bit differently. So if you're training and you feel like you've got loads of energy, but your body seems to be going the opposite way and you're storing more fat, especially kind of around your midsection, that can also be a sign of overtraining. I mean, obviously that can also be a sign of overeating and things like that. So don't just think if you're kind of putting on weight, oh, I must be overtraining. Obviously you need to take an honest look at yourself and decide whether it's just that you're eating too much or you're doing too much. So the third stage is if you really haven't been listening to your body, you've ignored all these signs that I've talked about previously, and the third stage is basically chronic overtraining. And actually this can be really dangerous. It's not just shown with a bit of weight gain or like a little bit of kind of decrease in intensity in sessions and things. Overtraining in the long term can actually lead to brain, muscle and metabolic imbalances, and it's just something so crazy, I think. We don't really think about it now nowadays, you know? Like, I think that social media, like I've said before, social media can be a great tool for connecting with people, sharing things, learning things, but it can also be really detrimental. And I think that it is actually a lot to blame. You know, we're bombarded on a consistent basis by people who just train all the time, you know? And also I think that people who offer training programs sometimes offer, you know, they sort of say that you need to do 5 days of lifting a week plus 3 or 4 cardio sessions. And realistically, that's just not the case, especially for most people who work a 9-to-5 job, or at least work a full-time job, have other lifestyle stresses such as, you know, owning a house, having to pay a mortgage, having kids, having a wife, or just a girlfriend. Basically, we've just got lost in this. I think that we kind of love extremes nowadays. Like, you either think, well, I can either not train at all, or I have to go like a fiend. And that's just not true. You can get the body you want. I mean, obviously it's not all about aesthetics, but I'm talking both. You can get a healthy body externally and internally, and a healthy mind by training far less than maybe you think. If you've got your other lifestyle factors on point, so if you're sleeping well and you've got an eye on your diet and you're generally eating well, you know, like 80% of the time, you can have that little 20% of fun, just because that also keeps your mind and soul healthy. But yeah, if you've got most of your lifestyle factors in check, then your training really doesn't need to be that voluminous. Now, of course, I'm not speaking about professional athletes or people who do physique competitions and stuff like that. I'm just talking about sort of the majority of people who want to keep good shape in their body, kind of want to look good, want to feel good. But yeah, I think that we've just got a bit lost. You think you need to do so much more training than you realistically do need to do. And we're just burning ourselves out, you know? Most people have enough stress in their lives anyway. Adding on top of that a really, really high volume and intensity of training just is unnecessary and unhealthy quite a lot of the time, to be honest. So if you're someone who kind of wakes up on a Monday morning, smashes life, Monday, Tuesday, your workouts are wicked, everything is going amazing, but by midweek you're feeling like, oh my God, where did my motivation go? Where did my energy go? All your workouts are half-assed, and you just generally feel a bit shitty, then it probably is the case that you have been overtraining. And I know personally for a fact that I've done this in the past, you know? I definitely was like that. Beginning of the week, really smashing through everything, thinking this is great, I've got my mojo back, and then get to midweek, feel really gross and stressed out, maybe have a few injuries here and there, and then, you know, take a rest over the weekend, and then come back Monday fighting, and you just get caught in this cycle, which is just really, really frustrating, because you never realistically make any progress. If you can only train for half of the week with some intensity, then you're never gonna make the progress you want to make. And that's why if you follow me on here or on Instagram, you may have seen that I've been doing a lot more yoga. I've been doing this Mindful Warrior training by Tim Sheaf, and that is because I actually felt like I was definitely overtraining. You know, I've been sick a lot lately and just showing all these symptoms that I've sort of talked about previously, and I had to really take a look at myself and be honest with myself and just stop being so silly. I think especially like personal trainers, so I'm a personal trainer, I'm in the fitness industry, I think it's really hard to know. You have to kind of be really, really honest with yourself, look at yourself, not listen to anyone else and see what anyone else is doing, and really look after yourself, you know? I love high intensity training, I love strength training, I love training in general, so for me, I have to really work hard to scale my training back, because realistically, I would work out every day, multiple times a day if I could, because I really just love doing it, and I love the benefits I feel, both internally, externally, in my mind. But you know what? If exercise and training is your only escape, so it's the only thing that makes you feel better when you're stressed, you probably need to find some other things in your life that do the same thing. Anyway, I feel I'm in danger of veering off on a tangent and just talking about myself, and whilst this is lovely, it's not a therapy session for me. So let's just recap and try and kind of make it all a bit simplified. If I've been talking a bit too much, then I'm just gonna kind of bullet point everything so that you get a sense of what you maybe should look out for and how you can address it and fix it. So here are 10 things to look out for if you think you may be doing too much training. 1. Persistent fatigue. Are you just tired all the time? 2. If your resting heart rate is elevated, and this is particularly apparent usually in the morning. 3. Getting sick more often. If you catch every single cold going and you just can't avoid getting sick, and you find it harder to shift the thing once you've become sick, that is another sign. 4. Decreased strength and performance. So if you're getting weaker and sort of more tired despite the fact that you're training more, what does that suggest? 5 is going to be changes in sleep patterns. So like I said earlier, this can go one of two ways. It can either be that you're overstimulated and overtrained, so you feel really, it's hard to fall asleep, you just feel really difficulty in falling asleep, or it can go the other way and you feel like you're just consistently oversleeping. And even though you're sleeping more than you think you should be, you don't feel rested at all and you just feel like you're just sucked into your bed and you just cannot get out of it. 6. chronic muscle soreness. So if you obviously, if you work out regularly, you will get some muscle soreness sometimes, but it's the difference between feeling like you've got some DOMS after a really heavy workout and just feeling like you are always, always sore and tender and your muscles just cannot recover no matter what you do. 7. High cortisol levels. Now, while this can be hard to test and find results for, like I said earlier, it can manifest itself as kind of showing more weight. You can't see, but I'm pointing to my midsection. So you might gain more weight around your midsection and find it really hard to shift. 8. Mood changes and possibly even a little bit of depression, which kind of ties in with number 9, which is a lack of motivation. And number 10 is an increase in injuries. If you're repeatedly training and stressing your muscles and not giving them enough time to rest, these will be little niggles probably in the beginning, but the more you ignore it and overtrain, the more these minor little injuries and kind of niggles can turn into actually major injuries, and that can be super frustrating. And also, if you're someone who has old injuries from the past, if you overtrain, it can exacerbate and exaggerate these old injuries and they can come back to bite you in the ass. So what can you do about this? How can you help yourself to recover from either short-term overtraining or long-term overtraining? So you need to get better at listening to your body, not listening to the voice in your head that says, go hard or go home, and it doesn't matter, just take a painkiller and ignore the pain. That is literally the most ridiculous and worst thing that you could possibly do. If you're exhausted and you always need like a double, triple espresso to get through your workout, then that should suggest something and set some warning bells off in your brain. So if any or all of the things that I've said previous to this are something that you can see within yourself, just really be honest with yourself. Don't put your physique ahead of your health, and just think about maybe getting back to the basics. So like I said earlier, you can look at your other lifestyle factors, make sure your diet is on point. And if you don't know what that means, maybe even kind of go to a nutritionist or someone who can give you a meal plan that you know is healthy. Not one for weight loss, not macros and calorie counting or anything like that, just a nutritionist who can give you a diet plan who knows that you will be therefore getting all the things that you need, all the nutrients, all the things that your body needs to repair itself. Make sure you're getting a good night's sleep. I know this can be really hard, but it's so important. I don't know if you've ever done this, but if you've had a few days in a row where you're not sleeping well, and then you just have even one where you sleep well, you are so much more efficient and better just at work in general, but also your workouts. You'll see the intensity can just go up and up and up. So if you think about that, just make sure you get enough sleep. It's so, so important. Make sure you're giving your muscles enough recovery. So maybe schedule a regular massage if you can, have baths, put some bath salts in there, some magnesium, some oils that help your muscles to repair. Basically, just do a little bit of self-love. And actually, probably most importantly, make sure that you schedule regular rest days. You know, it's not a rest day if you go for a long run. I mean, obviously, if you're a marathon runner, then don't listen to this because you know what you're doing. But if you're Joe Blogs, Mr. Norm, Mrs. Norm, whatever, make sure that you schedule in regular rest days and also kind of recovery days. So yin yoga, or like I said, maybe try and follow a plan like the Mindful Warrior one, which isn't so intense on your body. Go for a long walk, go for a cup of peppermint tea. Oops, my camera cut me off. That means I really definitely have been talking for too long, so I think I will round it up here. I hope I haven't bored you to death, and I hope I gave you some things to think about. And yeah, if you have any more questions about anything, just stick them in the comment section down below and I will get back to you. Basically, the take home of this video should be that exercise is amazing for you and it's a wonderful thing, but actually, like anything in life, too much of even a good thing can be really detrimental. So I will leave you now. Congratulations if you got to the end of this video. I'm so sorry. When I talk about topics that I care kind of deeply about, I seem to get a bit carried away, and I really tried to make this video shorter. I even bullet pointed some things, but it turns out I just love to chat. So I'm really sorry about that. Thank you if you watched the whole thing. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. As usual, subscribe if you have not yet already. Click the notification buzzer so you don't miss an upload, and I will see you in the next video.